There's one game that's the talk of Liverpool, but it's nothing to do with football. In fact, in this game, Liverpool is not trying to match Milan, but emulate Monaco. It's a motorsports computer game which puts racing cars on the city's streets. The game was designed to combine the excitement of racing with the cultural landmarks of Liverpool. But it was much more than a computer game. It was part of a social enterprise project which also gave pupils the chance to gain an insight into major industry, sample the atmosphere of higher education, and face the realities of running a business. And it also seemed to turn some pupils into budding Alan Sugars.
Well, we've had to sack, if you like, some people.
We had to sack them. It was a hard job because I'm not used to doing it.
I think it was important that people knew their place, really.
When St Margaret's Church of England High School counts its blessings, it soon comes to Dr. Carl Gavin. Carl is a former pupil and a current governor, and he's also managing director of a software development company. He offered his services to the school to help create a computer game, but the driving force had to come from the pupils themselves.
We thought, well, we make computer games, wouldn't it be a great idea if we got students to make a real, tangible computer game that they could sell for charity?
And that was it?
More or less. One of the things we found by doing projects like this is that you can inject learning and aspects of culture into computer games. So they're actually a very good medium for promoting good key messages for young people.
Year 11 pupils were invited to form their own company, St Margaret's Games, or SMG. Interviews for top jobs within the company were conducted by senior members of staff.
I'd like to apply for the managing director of St Margaret's Games.
I would like to apply for the role of development director in the company.
I'd like to apply for being the chairman of the company, SMG.
I'd like to apply for the role of marketing director, please, at St Margaret's Games.
What particular qualities do you think you bring to the role?
Well, I'm really interested in the way the whole marketing business works, the process of finding out what people want.
How do you think you would be in terms of dealing with this, networking and building up contacts and having meetings?
Well, I'd like to think I was a very good communicator and good with talking to people and understanding them. So I think that's a part of the job that I would relish.
Once the appointments were made, the idea took off for a game that celebrated Liverpool as the European Capital of Culture 2008. It would be called Streets of Culture, a motor race that would take place around imaginary tracks lined with the city's more famous landmarks. The first board meeting decided which good cause to support from the profits of the project.
Children needs coming up, isn't it? Yeah. And it's for children as well, and we're all teenagers.
So the conclusion is that we're going to use children need for 65% of the profit that we make from the game.
Early discussions were also held on how to market the game.
I think, to be honest, the biggest market for us is going to be the internet. It's where we can reach out to a really wide audience.
Staff kept a watching brief over proceedings, but never had to intervene.
The students here in St Margaret's actually surpassed our expectations, so it was a case of limited guidance through us, and they in fact actually did most of the networking themselves, were able to make the contacts, send the emails, and we're very mature and we're great ambassadors to themselves, their families and the school.
And giving them the freedom to show their own initiative has been a revelation, and really the students have come up trumps. As Jeff said, we've really had to give very limited guidance, but they seem to have gained in confidence tremendously from this whole project.
No discussion was needed to decide the make of the car. The school is less than a mile away from the Jaguar plant at Halewood. Here they were given access to designs and images they could use to race round the streets of Liverpool.
Would it be difficult to transfer the models that you've got on this CAD program onto a computer game?
The computer game that you're using and designing takes a certain format in a computer model. Generally, that's called an IGES file, and we can easily transfer any kind of CAD data to IGES format.
From computer program to production line, pupils were able to learn what it takes to build a real car. The link between factory and school was encouraged by Jaguar's head of education, who used to be a teacher at St Margaret's School.
It's about getting young people fired up about engineering, about manufacturing, about the jobs that there are associated with those companies.
Not just Jaguar?
Not just Jaguar, any company. As I say, Jaguar, its name seems to attract lots of people who want to work here, but I know suppliers, for example, there is a shortage of good engineers.
And will you be supplying cars to all members of staff at St Margaret's?
Well, when I get mine, the rest of them can have one as well.
Photographers were dispatched to take pictures of landmarks that would appear in the game. Pupils in the project team were then taken off timetables so they could spend a whole day in the education department at Liverpool Hope University. In a higher education atmosphere, and with access to a wider range of resources, they could concentrate on finalising the style and content of the game.
Where did the ideas come from for the shape of the tracks?
Apart from this 08 one, they're all just our own ideas of what a rally track would look like.
08?
Yeah, the 08, Liverpool capital of culture in year 2008, so we thought why not make this a game for the streets of culture. So we thought in the streets and make it 08 track.
So where's the inspiration coming from?
Well, the inspiration is based on what we've got in Liverpool. You know, you don't get much more of a talented city than Liverpool, with fantastic landmarks and great places to go and great places to be. You're trying to get people to come to a city which is thrilling and which is full of life. And we're trying to make sure that in the designs that we're putting forward here, it's trying to communicate this city full of life, full of different diverse culture, and a place that you really want to go to.
It sounds like you're from the tourist board, not St Margaret's School.
We're passionate about Liverpool, and we're passionate about our young people, and we're passionate about what they can achieve.
Hi, my name's David from St Margaret's Games.
The marketing team used the day to make contact with local media.
Yeah. I'm writing to inquire about your advertising rates, please.
Phone calls like this led to reports in a local newspaper and on local radio, helping to raise the profile of the game without paying for advertising.
Yeah. All right, thanks for that. Bye.
The final generation of the 3D graphics for the game was passed on to professional developers from Carl's company.
The students today have come up with the game design, which is the specification of requirements for us, the software developer, to go away and essentially recreate that using our 3D game engine.
So essentially you now take all the components and put it together and make the game?
Yes. All the designs, the track designs, the art assets, the photographs that they're working on, we'll take that and build their vision of a game for them.
They can't do that themselves? Is that a step too far or what?
Unfortunately, it is a step too far, but we're going to use as much of the raw material that they've produced themselves to develop the game.
Is your company taking anything of a risk in getting involved in this?
Absolutely. We have contributed towards the cost of developing this game, so we've taken on a financial risk in doing this. But we're seeing that as a marketing cost, because this is a pilot project. It's the first project of its kind, and we'd like to do this again in the future.
Social enterprise projects like this are being encouraged across the city as part of a wider scheme called Signal, a multi-agency initiative to boost aspiration and attainment among young people.
It's all about getting agencies to work together, and it's all about making those connections to help people impact on children's learning. There's a lot of talk about Every Child Matters, which is getting children to enjoy and achieve, feel safe, but the end result is achieving economic well-being. Here we have a lot of agencies that did their little bit, but focused on the boys that were involved. How are we going to get them to experience new skills, and new skills that they may really pick up on and find future employment in? You look at the boys here, graphic design workers going on, managers, all sorts of activities, and you're seeing strengths come out of those boys. How wonderful, because maybe in the future they will be employed in those skills that they've learned.
What have you got out of this project?
Well, I find that it made the circle of friends much greater, more respect for your team friends, more responsibility than just a student, become more everything is down to you.
I just think there was just so many skills that we picked up throughout the project. Things to do with enterprise, business, and just being in such a position of power. It gives you great, it gives you just brilliant leadership skills that you can take on. To be a director of the company is quite a big role. And it means there's quite a level of responsibility.
The project team leadership not only learned entrepreneurial skills, they also developed something of a ruthless streak. Team members who did not put the effort in were simply told, "You're fired."
We did give a warning to them saying, if you don't come again, then we're going to have to dismember you from the it's a team thing, really.
Where did you learn this ruthlessness?
I can't really say. Probably watching The Apprentice, maybe, and watching Sir Alan. His ruthlessness to sack people without any doubt.
You don't model yourself on him, do you?
No, not at all. I think of myself as quite a caring chairman, or I like to look out for the people who I work for. And like I said, if I'm ruthless in what I do by making decisions, but when it comes down to it, you've got to. Those decisions have to be made.
You know, when they did actually, bring in disciplinary action, in a proper workplace, it would have been justified, and they acted properly. But they acted as good managers as well, in that they encouraged good work and sort of good discipline within the organisation. It wasn't just a case of the stick. They did balance it with the carrot, and again, that was with limited guidance as well, and it was very impressive.
I think the idea and the whole process that they went through was to be a real-world process. St Margaret's has very good business education links in different competitions and in the curriculum, and the real world out there is a harsh place.
The game has so far sold more than 600 copies, either through school or the internet, and raised nearly £1,000 for children in need. But this will soon be overtaken by a new game, which is being planned as part of a much more ambitious social enterprise project involving other schools in Liverpool.
We're going to take this and take good practice from it, and what we have in the pipeline now is actually we're around networking to get new partners. We're going to take what we've learnt here, use on our own students from this first project as peer mentors, recruit new ones from the school, but also share it to Liverpool. And we're hoping now we've got on board Liverpool City Council and the Local Education Authority, and actually bringing on board now 10 new schools. And we're looking at a new game, a new Streets of Culture game with a much bigger budget, bigger quality, sharing enterprise education, sharing social enterprise education, which is what it's about, not raising money for money's sake.
All the schools involved will set up their own project teams, which will then come together for 3 days of designing and marketing at Hope University.
And I think the beauty about this project has been the uniqueness of it. To have a multinational company like Jaguar, together with a cutting-edge software company like Lateral Visions, then you've got Liverpool Hope University, and then a technology college, St Margaret's. If you can extend that now to some of our other schools in the area, then that's exactly what we're about as a technology college. It's spreading the good news.
St Margaret's and its partners are gearing up to encourage a new generation of business leaders, IT specialists and engineers across Liverpool, while promoting the city itself. It may be a city that revolves around the game of football, but it seems a motor racing game could well play just as big a part in its future.